Now, when we talk of reparation, what do we have as Africa to hold the global north to account? We might think we have nothing, and we feel weak when we ask for compensation for things that were done wrong to us. And while we deal with reparations for the global north and all the colonial masters that did the wrongs that they did to Africa, the continent of Africa, whose families probably are going to forget if we don't bring this history up and deal with it decisively. Have countries been compensated for reparation? Yes. Germany paid reparation to the Holocaust victims, their heirs, and the State of Israel. Germany also paid reparations to Namibia for the Herero-Naima genocide. Well, it's documented that they did, and if they didn't, then I guess we have to look into that as well, because there were discussions, very deep discussions on reparation for Namibia. What I know is that when we feel weak as a continent, we will never be able to get what we deserve, because we are already going to the table as people who are weak. But is Africa weak? Everybody talks about Africa as this continent with all the raw materials that the West wants. They want our minerals, they want our youth, they want our agricultural products, they want a lot. Even right now, when it comes to saving the globe, Africa is seen to be the least in terms of emissions, 4%, and yet it's suffering the biggest brunt when it comes to climate change. So what do we have that can actually bring them to their knees? We have the debt. The debt that they have given us at very high prices, very high interest rates. It's another form of colonialism that I think Africa should sit together and be united on that front. When it comes to our minerals, they cannot run their countries without our minerals. But are we prepared as the continent of Africa, and this is the challenge to the new leadership, are we prepared to actually sit on the same table, put our differences aside, and recognize that we first need to address the various wars that we have in our continent? We need to silence the guns. DRC, we say it's the breadbasket of Africa. It has the minerals to sustain Africa. But yet, we sit and watch the DRC crumble. We've got the Sudan, okay? And we've got so many other places that we know in Africa. The guns need to be silenced, but not only silenced. We need to come with a unity of purpose, a unity that Africa speaks with one voice, that all the leaders put their differences aside and remember that they are brothers. Irrespective of our religious backgrounds, irrespective of our tribes, irrespective of our gender, we need to come together with one agenda. And what is that one agenda? To make sure that Africa gets the reparation that it needs. And the only way we're going to do that is through unity of purpose. The prosperity of Africa depends on our unity. Are we prepared to be unified as a continent to be able to take what is rightfully ours in terms of reparation? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
When we are talking about reparations, what comes into your mind? When Black people come together and begin asking for reparation or talking about reparations, what comes into your mind? What do you think when you talk about reparation, when you're asking for reparation? What do you think? What normally comes into your mind? Do you think Black people need reparation? And if yes, why do you think they need reparations? Do you think we need to be paid for every pain we went through? Do you think we need to be paid for everything that was stolen to be brought back to us and all that? Do you think all should be returned? Do you think everything should be brought back? Do you think we need to be compensated for the pain that we went through? And if you think we need it, why do you think we need it? What is the reason that makes you think we as Black people, we need reparations? If no, why do you think we do not need it? Do you think we are asking for reparation because we are poor, or rather because everything was taken, therefore we were left with nothing, so we need reparation so that we can be able at least to have something of ourselves? Do you think we are asking for reparations because we lack, or rather because we are suffering because everything was taken out. So we need something back that can sustain us for the shortest period of time we're going to be in this world. Do you think so? Why do you think we need reparation? I want you to look at these videos because people are demanding for reparations. It's not the first time you've had this. It's not the second time you've had this. People are demanding for reparations. I want you to look at these videos. Then tell me, what do you think? And then I'll come back and talk about it at the end of it.
I am asked nearly daily, why now? To which we say, exactly now. Trump's policies are nothing but anti-blackness on steroids. Trying to end diversity, equity, and inclusion and bring back segregation. This America wants to make America Jim Crow again, and then some. Get rid of fair housing laws, equal employment opportunity, quality education for black folks. Firing government federal workers is an attack on black people because we represent 20% of that workforce. Dismantling the Department of Education is an attack on black people because our schools are the ones that need funding. Gutting Medicaid is an attack on black people because our babies and our mothers carrying our babies rely on it for access to health care. Defunding the Smithsonian. Have y'all read that executive order? He actually says in the language that race is biology and not a social construct. That is the same belief system of the Ku Klux Klan. From H.R. 40 to reparations now, to Tulsa, to slavery remembrance, Congress has a duty and an obligation to confront past wrongs and the centuries of enslavement, violence, and discrimination against black people. We are in a moment of anti-blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. The antidote to anti-blackness is to be pro-black, and we will do it unapologetically. The United States government owes us a debt, and we need reparations now.
What's your view on reparations? We need it. Not only do we need it, reparations is about repairing the harm of the past, right? And so this country was founded on indigenous genocide and the enslavement of Africans. And since then, even when the enslavement was over, there have been laws that have continued to negatively impact the black community. Right after the passage of the 13th Amendment, after Lincoln was killed and the new president took over, a piece of legislation called the Homestead Act was passed. And the Homestead Act pretty much gave, as we expanded out west, the majority of that new land, 90% of it was given to white people, both native born and foreign born. And African Americans, by and large, didn't have privy to that. So that land and what was the cities and towns and villages that was built on that land, wealth built on that land, we weren't able to benefit from that. So that's one sort of post-slavery piece of legislation that continues to impact black people negatively today. Of course, the Klan, of course, Jim Crow laws, of course, black laws and all of that. In addition to that, black banks were started and proliferated post-slavery all across the country, but they've never received the investments from the federal government to help keep them solvent and to help them grow into the investment banks that could be used to invest back in the black community. It's a great book by Mirza Baradaran, How the Other Half Banks, that tells the story about how this works. In contrast to that, Bank of America used to be the Bank of Italy, and they became the Bank of America through investments from the federal government to support its growth. But black banks have never received that, still to this day.
We need to talk about global anti-black racism, the treatment of African migrant laborers in the Middle East, in the Arab world, and in the Asian world, and in Europe, is a matter for the African Union to constantly pronounce itself on. And I'm glad, Chairperson, you issued a statement on George Floyd, but I'm waiting for the African Union resolution from last January on reparations. There was a formal policy of the United States government in 2015 for reparations by companies behind the Holocaust. There needs to be, the conversation on reparations is not to be settled by African political elites, right? Today, Zimbabwe is paying back white commercial farmers reparations. But when you talk about any reparations, it's like the black body is not worth repair. What we must do is endure, be resilient, go forward, don't look back, trudge on. But today with the scramble of Africa that PLO was talking about, they will interfere here whether we put in place the right policies or we put in place the good governance. Why? They need the lithium. And if your right policy is not consistent with their green energy transition that they control, they will take you out and they will cause instability. We cannot do it as single countries. We are not uniting because it's the good thing to do. We are not uniting because it's the principled thing to do. If we don't unite, we will perish. If each one of our small countries, as economically unviable as we are, rush in order to prove distinctiveness, I'll tell you what will happen. We will be so fragmented intellectually, politically. Our institutions will have no meaning. Let me end with something more positive. I think Pan-Africanism flavor is alive today. You adults, you only listen when you have had a few glasses of wine to Afrobeat. And of course, you don't like this thing. They are always singing about body parts and so on and so forth. I want to suggest to you, one of the most revolutionary things that the African Union, under the leadership of the chairperson here, has done is to talk about arts, culture, and heritage, not as entertainment, not as add-on, but as part of imagining the future economy, is to talk about the digital, not as part of little things you do, but as part of building the economy. All that's left now is how do we defend African art, culture, and heritage, not only in Africa, but globally. How do we make sure it is the mainstream of AFCFTA along with all the other big things we do? And how do we, in the digital economy, make sure we are not consumers of products that are produced elsewhere and not part of the production chain? If we do that, our Pan-Africanism is economic, our Pan-Africanism is cultural, our Pan-Africanism is intellectual, our Pan-Africanism is also spiritual.
Right. Welcome back again. Number one, Africans and black people are talking and they're demanding for reparations. And when black people are demanding for reparations, they can be right. They want it back. They want everything that was taken away back. They want to be compensated for the pain they went through, for the pain their ancestors went through. And you might think we want reparation because of the reasons that you have in your head, which I don't know. But I have my opinion on this. Black people might be needing reparations because of what white nations and white supremacy are taking them, how they are taking them. You know, we are still being called poor even when we know very well that the Western countries and the European countries, they've been built through the resources that are coming from Africa. Yeah? They are still calling us uncivilized. They are still calling us uneducated when we know very well that everything they have taken it from Africa and they are still taking it even today. You know that I am the one who is helping you, but you still call me poor. You still are referring to me as someone who cannot help himself. And that is why we get angry to some point. We want what was taken back. Because you cannot be moving around in my car and you are telling people of how I am walking. I don't have a car. You're moving around in my car, but you're telling people this man is just walking. He can't afford a taxi. We don't need reparation as black people because we are poor. We don't need it because we have nothing. Africa is still the richest continent. Africa is still the wealthiest continent. We have everything here in Africa. Africa can still feed the world. Africa is still feeding the world. Africa is still taking care of the world. Yeah? But the fact that someone has a courage and power to say that Africa is poor when they know very well it is our resources that they are happy on. It is what belongs to us that makes them happy. The fact that they are still seeing us as uncivilized, uneducated, and people who does not understand more makes us feel so bad. Because you cannot be sleeping in my house and you are telling people of how I cannot be able to pay rent. Africa is still the richest continent with everything. Food, minerals, every kind of a resource is found in Africa. So the fact that we want reparation does not mean we are poor. And this message that I want to say should go to all black people. When we are asking for reparations, let us be strong in our spirit and ask it with a lot of strength, because we are not asking for help. We are asking for what belongs to us. We're not asking for it because we do not have. You know, when you're asking for something because you don't have, you have to be humble and you have to go down kneeling and you have to cry for them. But when you are asking for something that belongs to you and you're not asking for it because you lack, you still have more, but you still have more, but because of how you're being treated, you feel like I am helping this person, but this person still treats me the way they want to treat me. That is the point you will have gotten to a point when now you go and want even to take the smallest that you have given to them that is sustaining them, who are talking bad against you. Black people do not ask for reparations because they don't have, but they are asking for reparations because the same countries, the same Western countries, the same Europe countries that are getting help from Africa, that are being helped to survive by African continent, are talking bad against African continent. They don't have appreciation. They can't appreciate. They can't say thank you. They don't have regards on what we're doing, and therefore even the small that we've given to them, we need it back. Because if I can be able to provide small, I can be able to provide something for you, and you see nothing out of it. It means even the small that I've given to you, you need to bring it back. And then after bringing it back, let me see how you're going to survive. America and the Europe countries, they are not rich because they know how to make wealth. They are not rich because they know how to work things out. If it comes to hard working and critical thinking and great minds, come to black land. Go to where black people live. Go to Ohio. Look at that city, how it looks. If it's about inventions and all that, go to black people. Black people have invented a lot of things in this world, but they cannot be placed on the picture. And that is why when you look at them, we don't see anything that they've been able to do. We don't see anything. We cannot see anything because they've been placed under the bars. Yeah? And therefore, it is very annoying when you know very well you've contributed a lot to the growth of a certain country, but at the end of the day there are no regards on what you've been able to do. That is why even the smallest that we've been able to give, we want it back. We want you to bring it back. Let us have it by ourselves, because we can't live that way. We cannot do things in that manner. So when we are asking for reparations, black people, we need to ask it courageously. Not because we lack. Not because, we don't even need it. Because I don't think we need reparations. We don't need it. As black people, we don't need it. Do you think we need it? We don't need it. But we are asking for it because the oppression still continues. Instead of these people saying, we've done enough, let us now go down and at least go down and at least try to ask for the forgiveness for what we've been able to do. The oppression still continues, even when they're living and having what belongs to us. Even when what belongs to us, our resource, our assets are the ones making them move. They are still talking ill of us. They are still oppressing us. They are still doing every kind of bad thing to us. That is why even the smallest they have that belongs to us, we need it. Not because we don't have it. We have it more. In Africa is where we are cooking wealth. It's where we are making people rich in Africa. Yeah? Therefore, we don't need it because we are poor, because we lack. We need it because of the pride and arrogance of the Western and white man supremacy. Tell me what you think on the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I read the comments and give a response where possible. I am the African Streamline. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for being here. For the returning subscribers, I salute you. For those who have been here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. God bless.